tuning in to Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business, Episode 2, and I am your host, Joy Lynn M. Ross, literary consultant, concierge, writing coach, and online course instructor for Path to Publishing, which, by the way, you can visit at www.path-to-publishing.thinkific.com. I also write under the name E.N. Joy, and I'm also the person who's going to help you to stop leaving money on the table and perhaps going back and grabbing some of that money you've already left. And I'm going to help you by teaching you to act like an author, but think like a business. So welcome to today's episode where we are going to talk about holiday marketing. Now, initially I wanted to focus on spring only, but since this episode is being recorded in the month of February, please allow me to quickly touch upon the Valentine's Day thing. So if you write about love, romance, or even sex, Valentine's Day is the perfect day for you to be featured on the radio or even a television segment. But you would have to begin pitching yourself around October, November of the year prior. And before you ask, no, you do not have to be a nonfiction author, and no, you do not have to be an expert or a relationship coach or anything like that. You just need to make sure you have some amazing tips and stories that you can share, perhaps about the do's and don'ts of love, romance, and even sex. All you have to do is make it fun, entertaining, and informative. And you do so by using your character situations as examples. You mean to tell me you don't have some crazy in love character in any of your books? You don't have a girl who knows her man took someone else out to dinner for Valentine's Day before he took her, which is kind of like double dipping, you know what I'm saying? And if so, how did she handle it? How would you handle it? Tell the listeners how you would handle it, because you have to have that personal touch and connection to the show. There has to be some valuable tips and news, as well as some interesting and engaging story that you need to incorporate. Now, remember, the media doesn't care about you, and the media doesn't care about your book. What the media cares about is their audience and what you have to offer their audience. So the media is all about ratings and keeping that audience tuned in. I bet there are several of you who could pull out a situation in your book that would make for a great conversation on Valentine's Day. And even if you can't, simply be willing to share one of your own personal stories that has nothing to do with your book, but again, about love, romance, and sex. Anything that can be connected to Valentine's Day. I once made the homepage of AOL with a story I told about my horrible experiences with those nightmarish places called check cashing advance places. It's like this dark hole. You go to check cashing place A to help you catch up on some bills, and by the time the money is due back to them, you still don't have it, you're still behind, so you go to check cashing place B, and you just end up in this horrific, vicious cycle. Well, of course, that had nothing to do with anything in any of my books, but it still landed me on AOL's homepage, and my name, the fact that I was an author, and you guessed it, my website was mentioned at the end of the article. So sharing that personal story about my life, which had nothing to do with my books or anything in them, actually paid off for my books. So perhaps you are divorced. You can talk about love, romance, or even sex after divorce. And then be sure to mention your book during the interview. But don't overdo it with all of that, like my book says. And in the book, you know how we sometimes want to keep going book. But you just do something like, when I was researching for my book, Love, Romance, and Sex, I learned, etc. And now I'm here to teach you, etc. Because remember, it's about what you can provide the audience outside of your book. And not to worry, as long as your host or interviewer is on the job, they'll be sure to mention your book and its title somewhere during the interview. So, if you missed out on media coverage for this past Valentine's Day, don't fret, you'll get them next year. But start working on your pitch and proposal package now, because October and November will be here before you know it. Okay, so now let's talk about ways to holiday market in the beautiful springtime. Spring is full of holidays and opportunities and special occasions where you can market your book. So start packaging those books for buyers to purchase as spring gifts. I want to go over 9 occasions in which you can do some spring marketing for your book. I'm sure there are more, and by the way, if you have more, please be sure to email them to me at actlikeanauthor@gmail.com so that I can share them with our viewers, giving you full credit for the tip. Unless you want to remain anonymous, of course, but hey, if you've got information, you want people to know where they're getting that great information from so that maybe they can come and check you out. So anyway, let's start with 1. High school graduation. Hit those kids up before they start all of that. Oh, I don't have hardly any time to read for leisure with all these assigned college readings. Blah, 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 blah. Then there's college commencements. Okay, now they no longer have the excuse of having all of this required reading, so let your book be the first book they can read for leisure upon college graduation. We have birthdays, of course, weddings, Easter. Wouldn't it be amazing to make an Easter book basket? Mother's Day, bridal showers, bachelor and bachelorette parties, and last on my list, baby showers. Basket box sets add an amazing appeal to your book. Depending on your budget, consider custom bags and boxes. I've seen authors get their book cover printed on the boxes, especially people who are putting out low content products like planners and journals, and they have those custom made boxes that just really add to it and just make it look like you want to buy bunches of them and give them away for gifts, whether it's a holiday or an occasion or not, just because. It's something about those customized boxes that just makes it a just because gift. But otherwise, those dollar stores have some wonderful items for $1 that will add to your gift set. They even have those cellophane wrap sets where you can put your nice basket or box or whatever you're going to do and put it in the cellophane, and you can buy the bow and the ribbon, all the great stuff they have at the dollar store. Okay, this next little tip, it's not a shot against you fellas, but the barber shop is a gold mine to hit up a couple of days before the holidays, and even sometimes on the actual holiday if the barber shops are open, because men typically haven't made their holiday purchase yet and just were clueless of what they wanted to buy in the first place. So you showing up with a ready-made gift set is an absolute lifesaver for these fellas. And it's also good author business. And one last tip, but definitely not least, be sure to place any of your marketing, promotional items, materials in the gift bag, basket, box, however you're going to do it. Just make sure you put your promo pieces, postcards, pins, mugs, t-shirts, magnets, whatever promotional pieces you have that can even enhance the gift set even more. Don't forget to add them, and don't forget to autograph the book. Just sign your name and date it. And there you have it. Another short and painless episode of Act Like an Author and Think Like a Business. Well, not and. Act like an author, think like a business. And as always, I cannot guarantee that every episode will be painless, but hopefully every episode will help you from being penniless. You don't want to be that starving author. You want to be that striving author. be sure to sign up at the link that appears at the bottom of this video screen so that you can stay updated on the happenings of Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.